If I knew about these red flags, I would have saved myself so many heartbreaks and actually been able to give my attention to the girls who deserved it. Some of these are going to be obvious to some of you, but others are much more subtle, so you have to pay attention so you don't get burned like I did. Now, for the first red flag, dating this type of girl is like buying a brand new Lamborghini and leaving it in the street unlocked. And worse than that, it's that your girl thinks it's okay to leave it in the street unlocked. She's encouraging you. She's just like, oh yeah, just park it there, leave it. We don't need to lock the car. Why would anyone even want to steal it? This is what it's like to date a party girl. A girl who dresses slutty, is always at the club, always hanging around guys, getting drunk as fuck. This is a big red flag. If you're dating this type of girl, you need to run, my friend, because even worse is that she doesn't realize that this is a bad thing. See, a girl that really loved you and had nothing else in her mind besides wanting to be your partner wouldn't be out at the club doing all these things that lead to bad behavior. Even if your girl is innocent, it's just being in the area where this thing is likely to happen. It's like being completely confused as to why your Lamborghini ended up getting stolen when you left it in the street unlocked. It's like, well, it's obvious. You left a gorgeous car in the middle of the street, not locked, and you're just asking for it to get stolen. So this is the worst thing, is that party girls are out in these situations where this is kind of just what happens. And if they have had many boyfriends before, many partners, this is just a normal behavior for them to flirt, talk to guys. And when a dude who is a real big baller comes around and has some charm and some charisma, forget about it. Your girl is as good as gone. So if you're dating this type of girl, the best thing you can do is just cut it off immediately or put some boundaries in place, because otherwise you are going to get yourself heartbroken like I did. And the second red flag ties into the last one, but a little bit different. And it has so many areas where you can consider it a red flag, but this is like being on the Amalfi Coast, the most beautiful place in the world. And you are surrounded by all these amazing views, all this great scenery, and all you're doing is thinking about the next destination to travel to. Oh, I want to go to Greece. I want to go to Spain. I want to go here, there. And the entire time you just try and get a couple pictures so it looks good on your Instagram. And then you don't even take in or appreciate any of the beauty that's right in front of you. This is what it's like for girls who are constantly seeking male validation. They might have the best boyfriend that can give them all they want right in front of them, but the entire time they're just out there looking for other guys who are giving them validation, posting pictures so they can get likes and get guys to appreciate them. This is a big red flag, because this is the mindset. It's more that the mindset is what's flawed here, of someone who is high dopamine driven, constantly seeking that next hit, always, just very low attention span, low awareness. And this is not what you want in a girlfriend. This is not the type of girl that's meditating, journaling, doing any sort of work on herself. And she's probably out there, vaping, smoking weed, drinking all the time, just doing all the bad things, scrolling on social media that are not helping her become the highest version of herself. So this type of girl is always going to lead to a bad situation. This is what happened with me with my ex. I mean, I was a very young, naive kid at the time. This was many years ago. But she was on Snap talking to all these dudes who were trying to hit on her and say, you're mine. I don't know why you're with this dude. And she would entertain it. And I was like, well, why are you entertaining? She's like, well, I'm with you. It doesn't matter. But these are the little things which, I started to pick up on, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. But I didn't want to be controlling. I was too scared to say anything. I didn't know what to do. And I ended up losing her anyway. So that situation is going to be bad. If you notice these things, if a girl won't stop texting other dudes, if she won't stop hanging around them, if she won't stop posting bikini pictures on Instagram, then it's just a matter of time before she moves on to the next one, because she can't appreciate what's right in front of her. By the way, I'll help you avoid all these red flags and find the girl of your dreams in a personalized one-to-one coaching call. If you want help with setting up a self-development system that's going to allow you to become the absolute best version of yourself that girls are absolutely attracted to, then sign up for that below in a free one-to-one coaching call with me. And this next red flag may be the most important one. To illustrate this, think of two safes. They both have locks and treasure inside. The first safe unlocks for nearly every single key that comes along. And on top of that, every key that unlocks it is able to take a little bit of that treasure. Versus the second safe, which only a few keys, if not only one special key, can unlock, and the person who's able to unlock that safe gets all the treasure. And what I'm referring to here is body count. The higher a body count a girl has, the less valuable she is, and this is just the raw reality of it. See, a girl who only allows a very select kind of guy to unlock her safe, metaphorically speaking, is going to be so much higher value, and it's going to be a completely different relationship than the girl who lets anybody sleep with her, even the guy at the gas station, even the fat slob. If she doesn't care about placing any value on sex, then dating this type of girl is going to be a bad idea, because if some baller comes around who's just a charismatic, funny guy, he's going to easily be able to charm her into sleeping with her because she doesn't really place too much value on this thing in the first place. I've seen it time and time again, whereas the girl who places so much value on sex and makes it this special thing that's only reserved for her partner that she cares so much about, and she was so selective with choosing, is not even going to have the slightest inclination to cheat. And there's so many areas as to why this is so important, but that is just one of them. And I've seen this myself, and this is one of the reasons for my heartbreak. And I've seen this now just being someone who's traveled the world, been out in so many different places. It is such an important thing that you find a girl with a lower body count if you want a real meaningful relationship that will last and be able to wear the test of time through the ups and the downs. This is really going to be important, because if a girl doesn't place much value on this, if there's a hard time, she's just going to be able to jump over to the next dude, and she might not be able to fight for this as much as the girl who just doesn't really care about sex. The moment something bad happens, she's like, fuck this, I'm out of here. And it's just a bad situation overall. So selecting a girl with a lower body count is always going to be advantageous for you, and it's an absolute necessity when looking for the green flags in a girl is a lower body count. And this next red flag is one thing that will completely wear on you. I know it did in my relationship. I experienced it a little bit, but I also just got reminded of it with seeing a friend who has a girl who is very moody, very up and down, who can be kind of bitchy and snappy. And this is one thing that you really want to avoid for a long-term partner. Let's say you've avoided some of the more basic red flags, and now you really want to find someone who you can spend quite a bit of time with and is going to support you in your mission and your dreams. This is one thing you really need to avoid, because it's not going to be advantageous for either of you if she is there bringing you down. Your partner should only be bringing you up and helping you along your journey. If she's there making life so difficult, being this cause that's just a nuisance and a headache, and it's annoying and it's just moody and just like, I was there. It wasn't even my girlfriend recently, and I was just like, oh man, this is annoying as fuck. I can't deal with this. And I didn't even have to deal with it. I was just sitting there hanging out with my boy, witnessing all this. And I was like, oh, this is fucked. I would lose my mind. And he's dealing with this nonstop. How do you think that's going to affect how you perform in business, how your mindset is, even being able to do the self-improvement work? Do you think you're going to be able to focus on a meditation after having dealt with a girl nagging, being bitchy, and attitude? No, it's going to be such a detriment from everything you're trying to do, bringing you down instead of up, which is something that a girl should never do if you really want a true long-term partner. Now, I'm not saying you guys are never going to fight and never going to have an argument, but I'm saying someone that is a constant source of just irritation, someone that's moody all the time, up and down, is not emotionally stable, hasn't done any of the self-development work. You deserve someone who is equally on par with the work that you've been doing. If you watch my channel, you hear I preach all the time: meditation, journaling, reading, going to the gym. If this person isn't on that same wavelength and a very emotionally stable person who's just trying to bring positivity, you, my friend, she doesn't deserve you. So this is something that's going to be more selective now, and we're getting into the more particular red flags. But if you notice this early on, it is only going to get worse and worse. So the sooner you can catch this, if you can quickly correct it and put a boundary around it, that will be great. But if not, unfortunately, now it's too late and this is already ruined. So the time you need to catch it is early on, and you need to correct this as soon as possible. If not, that's it. You got to cut this one off, unfortunately. And this last red flag is just pure disrespect. This happened to me about 3-4 years ago with my ex. I was so naive, so inexperienced, and just a novice to the overall dating scene that I didn't realize how bad this truly was, but it caused a deep, deep feeling of just a bad feeling that I couldn't describe. I felt it in the core of my stomach, in my heart, and it was just a bad feeling overall. And if you notice this early on when dating a girl, or just on the first dates, or later on in the relationship, this is a really bad sign that either this girl is absolutely clueless or she has simply no respect for you as a partner. And this is gonna be talking about exes, talking about sex experiences, even worse. This is something that should never be mentioned in a relationship. If a girl's always bringing up her ex, or if she tells you about specific sexual experiences she had, this is something that is just for guys. It's hard to explain. I don't think girls truly understand this, but if you're dating a girl and you care about her and she's talking about other dudes who have slept with her or sexual experiences she had, it's just one of the most heart-wrenching, gut-stabbing feelings that a guy can get. So if a girl does this, this is a bad sign that either she's just so clueless or she just really doesn't respect you in this relationship at all to realize how much of an impact that has and how disrespectful doing something like that really is. That's like me telling a girl all the girls I've slept with and what I've done and all this stuff. I mean, if you used some sort of experience that was like, oh, I made this mistake before, I don't want to make it again with you, that's a different thing. And if you come from a very respectful place, and if she does the same thing, that's one thing. But if they're like, oh, well, my ex did this and my ex did that, and one time I was fucked, and it's like, what are you saying? If that happens, you need to absolutely run, because this girl is just gonna be a disaster in the long run, as it was for me previously with my ex. So those are the red flags. If this video provided you with any value, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. On this channel, I'll be teaching you how to become the absolute best version of yourself and be able to conquer your mind, body, and life so you can attract your dream girl and live the best human existence possible. So if that sounds of interest, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I'll see you guys on the next video.